Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie Has No Friends. And of course, it's Murder Monday with my friend Kelly, who is the host of ODFM podcast, which is 1D away from murder. And I love it. But I feel like after last week's story, we need to rename it Morbid Monday
I
because
know, that was
last
pretty
week
bad.
was so gross. If you haven't heard it and you're, I guess, into gross stuff, we are coming into the season of like Halloween and stuff. So maybe you want, that was a crazy story.
That was shitballs crazy. Yeah.
Okay. And so
Mhm.
today, what story are you going to be
Oh, well, you
telling us?
asked me
I'm sorry.
to tell this story, and I was so confused because you had texted me once when you listened to this one on ODFM, and you were like, "Scott and Sean," and all this stuff, so I was thinking, "Oh my god, it's gotta what is happening with her co-hosts?" I was thinking it was Scott from the radio that you
The
used
radio
to
and then
Yeah.
Sean.
Sean from the podcast. I'm, like, so confused. Why are they so badass? I don't know. Are you
And when
texting
we
the wrong
get to that
person?
part of the story, I will stop you and say, "This is where I stopped vacuuming," and got my phone and sent Kelly a text, and then I'll tell you what I text her, and she was so confused. But I was literally listening to you tell this story, and I had to stop what I was doing because it was like, "No,
I
this
know.
can't be for real."
This is the shit they can't write in movies. That's why, you know, life is stranger than fiction. It's true,
Yeah.
especially with this
So,
shit. Yeah, so stop me whenever you want and, comment because that's what makes these good.
yeah, I love it.
Adding in all the good shit. Okay, so this was a story, it was part 2 of a story we told that was called Dismal Creek, One Dismal Creek from Murder. So
Now
have you ever
wait,
been Yeah, yeah,
now we had do we wanna do an hour? Do you wanna do an hour?
we
Are we
can.
planning on doing an hour?
I mean, yeah, if you wanna talk it
I
up,
was saying let's
that'll
do an
make
hour.
it
Do you wanna do the
that'll make
first
it
part
longer.
and then the second or no?
That would be like a 2 hour, but I did add
Oh, it would?
information
Oh,
into this one so that
perfect.
it'll all make
I
sense.
forgot it was a
So,
two-parter. Okay,
yeah, yeah, but this
got
this
it.
is the more fun part. The other part's a little more dismal.
It's very
Dismal
dismal,
Creek.
really messed up. Okay,
Ah,
go
these
ahead.
people. Okay, so we're heading into 2008. Have you ever been to the Appalachian Trail?
God,
Any of that
no.
area? Me neither.
We're about
I
to go to
well
Tennessee with some friends, and we're going hiking,
Oh,
and I
shit.
don't even wanna go hiking. I'm only
Don't go
going
to
because
Dismal
of
Creek.
Dollywood. I'm going to Dollywood.
Yes!
Do you have since it's one ODFM, you need a D, has there been a Dollywood murder? I bet there has not.
No, let's I know because she's so fucking wonderful. If she was president,
No,
there would be no murders ever again.
I feel
Dolly.
absolutely safe going to Dollywood. Now, the Appalachian I've heard
Trail.
really some freaky stuff about that
There's
area, so
there's a lot of
no.
people that have gone missing there, yeah, and which partly it's probably because it's wilderness, but also because there's some real freaks that go along there.
Yeah.
So we're going down to there. We're going to the Appalachian Trail. So it's May of 6th of 2008, and there were some murders back in the '80s that had happened, but, that was a long time ago, so people it's not on people's minds anymore. They're out and hiking. So there's these best friends. There's Scott Johnson and Sean Farmer. So this is Scott and Sean.
This is the Scott and Sean I was referring to.
Absolutely. And it's not the Scott and Sean that Sadie's actually good
No,
friends with.
yes, right.
These are more badass. Just kidding, Scott and Sean. Okay,
No,
so
no, that you're legit. Because when you hear the story, I bet they would both agree, yes,
yeah, these
these
guys
2
are
are much more badass.
but, they're a longtime friends. They're looking forward to going to this fishing trip in Dismal Creek in Virginia off of the Appalachian Trail. So, it's an area they've gone to often. They go fishing all the time. They camp together. But this time, Scott, he ended up going early. He'd gone fishing alone early on this day. It was May 6th. He's excited to kick off the outdoor weekend. He had plans to meet up with Sean in the early evening at their usual campsite, and he's just stoked to be a man.
Yeah, dudes get excited about going into the
Yeah,
woods, I don't get it.
yeah.
Where do you I guess they just go to the bathroom and they're fine with it. I
They
couldn't live
love
with
that
myself.
part. That's what they
Well, the
love.
one part, yeah, but the other
Yeah.
part, I don't
I
get
know.
that.
No, No, burying
What are
your
we
shit and
doing?
stuff.
But
No.
anyway, they were excited
They were
to go.
excited to go pee on some trees. So Scott's out on the river. He's enjoying the peace and quiet, and he's hoping to snag a few trout for dinner when another outdoorsman comes up and introduces himself. So he's just random dude walks up and he's like, "Hey, I'm Ricky Williams,"
This
which
is why I don't go to the Appalachian
no.
Trail because I don't wanna meet you, Ricky. I'm here alone.
Ricky, I'm out here fishing. You're scaring the trout. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
okay.
So Ricky, he's kind of gaunt, and Scott describes him as like a little straggly looking, a little homeless looking, like he's been
Yeah.
living in the woods for a couple days, but maybe
Makes
he'd been
sense, it
camping.
tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but this guy, he's wearing an expensive camouflage jacket and some nice new hiking boots. And he seems harmless. So Scott's like, "Oh, he's probably a true outdoorsman. He's got the
Yeah.
gear. So he's got
Yeah.
to be a good guy." So they get to talking, they spend the day together fishing, they catch a shitload of trout, and being the friendly sort, which I happen to be, and it's really stupid to be friendly, just
It's
gotta
so
say.
bad to be friendly, don't do it, because one minute you're helping a dude with a canoe, and then you're one of Ted Bundy's victims, like, I try to
Yes.
tell Sophie that, like, it's so hard not to be
Yeah,
nice because
I
we're
know.
trained to be very
Absolutely.
nice, and of course, I'll help you load your canoe, and then you're
Yeah,
murdered, it's
and then you're
bullshit.
dead. I know. So,
Yeah,
Scott's one of those, he's so nice, he's like, "Hey, all this trout we caught? Let's go to dinner together. Come to our campsite. You can come eat with us, we'll cook them up, have a good night." So Sean, Scott's friend, he had arrived at the campsite while Scott was off fishing with Ricky, and he gets this fire built,
yeah.
and yeah, Scott shows up with his new fishing buddy. Sorry, I get him confused, Scott and Sean.
You're
They need to
totally
start with different
fine.
different people, but yeah, Scott shows up with his new fishing buddy, Ricky, and Ricky has his dog with him. So, and even more like people, if they have dogs, I trust them even more.
Like,
I
more
don't know.
reassuring.
Right. I'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you're a dog person? You're probably great." Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm
Sean
doubting that's the case with Ricky, though, because 'cause you're
no,
really there's
no,
a lot
I'm
of
really yeah,
foreshadowing.
I know, I'm really pushing the Ricky is a little creepy dude.
Yeah.
But Sean doesn't think too much of it. He's like, "Yeah, the guy's skinny, the dog looks a little underfed, but you know what? Come on in." So the crew eats dinner, they're listening to music, having
And
some
can I also tell you,
beers.
not
Yes,
to break in here, Kelly, but
break
this is a
in.
total dude thing.
Mm,
Like,
mhm.
girls, I would see my friend coming up the hill with a stranger, and I'd be
Oh,
like, "Son of a bitch, who did you invite?
you ruined
I don't
girls'
even know
night.
this person, and now I gotta what is this?"
Yeah,
And
now I gotta entertain someone new, and we can't talk about shit they don't know about. Yeah. No,
don't
thanks.
you wouldn't you also think that women are just taught to be at a more higher we're
Oh,
more high alert than
for
men are?
sure.
Men are like, "It's fine, I can punch
That's
him," and
they think they're so tough. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're
so
absolutely
they
right.
were on that level, they
They
weren't
didn't
even
even
thinking
think
about
about
that
it at
either.
all. No, they're
Yeah,
like, "Have some beers. Let's the more the merrier."
yeah.
But earlier in the day, hikers had contacted local authorities saying they'd seen some odd things nearby the Appalachian Trail. So
Uh-oh.
I know, and Scott and Sean don't know about this, of course. There were strange symbols painted on trees and rocks, like skulls
Like
and
on Blair Witch
crossbones.
Project?
Kind of. I know, like, there were actual skull and crossbones, like saying, "Enter at your own risk," type of thing, like somebody's painting these everywhere.
There's none of that
So
shit at
weird.
Dollywood, I'll tell you that much.
No, no, you don't have to worry about that at Dollywood. You're gonna find pink hats and boots. You
And
don't
glitter, not yeah, but
glitter.
you're saying that
Mhm.
people are hiking and they're saying they're seeing all of these weird symbols that are
Yeah,
painted.
and so they
Okay.
actually tell authorities because 'cause they're a little worried because there's been some strange shit that's happened on the Appalachian Trail, so some of the symbols were also at a place called the Wapiti Shelter, and that had been closed down after murders from the '80s. They had just closed it down. It had become, kind of this legend. People were like, "I'm not going there. I'm too afraid of it." So park rangers were like, "You know what? Let's just pretend this place doesn't exist." So the
Yeah.
shelter happened to be just a stone's throw away from where Scott and Sean had pitched camp.
And this is one of those because 'cause I'm sorry to break in again, but this
No,
is one
do
of
it.
those shelters where, again, I am not into the whole hiking and being in the mountains and living like
Hmm.
on the
Like a
land. I would die
nomad. Yeah.
immediately if there was a shutdown in the grid. I just die. I would
I know. Yeah.
die. And I
That'd be
know
the
that about
easiest out.
myself. But these are just like little buildings, little
They're very
cabins
rough.
that
They don't
are
even have
around.
doors. Yeah. They don't
They
even
don't
have
even
doors.
so it's just like some form of basic shelter that is
Right.
out there for people who are hiking and they want to stop and sleep in a fort.
Yeah,
It
basically,
sounds
they wanna
fun.
get out of the rain, basically. So, yeah,
Yeah,
because they actually get rain unlike us.
which is
So,
weird.
that's so weird. They actually get rain. It's they get plants. We're desert. But hikers around that area, they knew the history of the shelter and they would avoid it. But Scott and Sean, they're like, "Whatever, we'll just camp right behind it. It's a good spot." Scott, Sean, and Ricky, they're having a good time chatting. The night's wearing down, and then Ricky stands up and he's patting his leg, telling his dog, "Okay, let's go. It's time to go back to our camp." And Ricky's
Totally
standing I
normal.
mean, totally
Okay.
normal. The guys are probably
Yeah.
like, Finally, we wanna have some beers alone, get out."
Talk shit about Ricky.
Yeah, let's talk about how gaunt Ricky's looking. Damn,
The
Ricky.
hell's wrong with Ricky?
Go eat some
Okay.
bark.
So
Yeah,
that's
so
good. Ricky's getting up and he's leaving, and that's a
he's
good
leaving.
sign.
And they're like, "Okay, good. We can get rid of Ricky." He's standing behind these 2 other men at this point, which I think the Scott and Sean probably are either in camping chairs or maybe sitting on logs somewhere. So Ricky's standing behind him. Suddenly, Scott hears this loud pop and he turns. He sees Ricky pointing at Sean. And for Sean, all he hears is loud ringing and he feels his mouth swing or
Yes.
swing, his mouth swell and he can't speak. And at the same time, his vision on the right side of his head goes out, just confused. Like they don't know what's happening. It goes so fast. So Sean stands up, staggers backwards, and he sees from the eye he can still see from flashes of light going towards Scott, but it's soundless because his ears
It would be
are
so
deaf.
confusing, and it
So
probably all
confusing.
happened so fast.
Yeah, and everything's slowing down for him in his mind, but he's trying to figure out what's going. And Sean's hearing was gone except for this loud ringing, and the flashes of fire are coming from Scott being shot from Ricky.
I knew it. I knew it.
Ugh. So
This
Scott jumps out of his chair. He takes off running. He's weaving and ducking, man. He's like, "I've seen this in the movies. This shit, I
so
am
he
getting
knows
out
what
of
to
here."
do. Yeah.
He knows
He's
what to
just
do. He's out. So Ricky turns and he shoots at Scott as he's running, and he hits him in the back. So
So
Scott
originally, when I heard you telling the story, I'm like, "Well, what's the end? Ricky killed him. They're
I know.
done. They're
They're done.
they're up in the middle of nowhere on the Appalachian Trail.
Excuse
They
me.
don't I'm sure they
Yeah.
don't have cell phones service. I mean,
No.
they're fucked."
You're
And so that's what
fucked.
I was thinking, like, how are you gonna make an hour out of this, Kelly? But
Oh
you
my
did it.
god. You're gonna bleed out. No, it's bad.
Yeah,
It's bad. Okay, I had too much coffee. I'm like, "Ugh." All right.
it's okay. I can edit like a motherfucker.
Sweet. We'll need it. So so yeah, Sean's hearing's gone. Scott jumps out of his chair, takes off running. He's weaving, ducking. Ricky turns and shoots at Scott. Like I said, when he hits him in the back, he hides behind a tree trying to figure out what's going on. And he realizes he's been shot in the neck. And he can actually see blood squirting in time with his heartbeat. Oh my God.
So
So
this
he
is bad.
Oh, this is bad. I mean, in your neck. So he's feeling around his neck and he finds the bullet hole and sticks his finger into it to plug it. This dude is
I
so
would just
smart.
give up, guys.
I
You guys,
know.
I'd be dead. Ricky would have done me off.
Ah, fucking Ricky. So
So the
meanwhile,
one guy is hiding behind the tree and he's been shot in the back, and the other
yeah,
guy has been shot in the neck, and that's why he's hearing
holding
these ringing sounds.
I think so, yeah, and I don't know if well, he also got shot in the head, so yeah.
Okay, so
He
you
doesn't
see why
realize
this
it
was
at the moment.
this is like a shocking episode because I'm like, how are
Horrible.
they gonna
How
survive
are they
this?
getting out of this? Meanwhile, so Sean's back at the campsite. He's in shock, but he's figured out what's going on. He's like, "Oh, shit." He sees Ricky turn back towards him, after he's been shooting at Scott, who'd run away. He's preparing to shoot him again, and he's got this completely blank look on his face. Like, just,
Mm.
like, oh, so scary. Sean's not a small guy. So he's 6'5", and he's around 380 pounds. He's not small. So
Right.
before Ricky can get off another shot, he charges him.
And
And
he's
as
been shot in the
let me think if it
it's
even
so
said
confusing
yet.
with
It's
Sean and
so
Scott
confusing. I know,
because
but their
they're
names being so close.
I
I
know.
think he'd been shot in the chest. Ooh,
Okay, so
but as he
he's
does, he gets him shot in the chest again as he stands up.
so this man has been shot where? Just
A good
because we're
question. Well,
keeping
I
tally.
think farther in the story we find out because they don't really know at the
Oh, okay,
at the
got it.
start. So, and of course, it's been long enough. I forget all the details, but
It's okay.
anyway, we'll know when we get there. So,
Yeah.
S- Sean, he's able to turn around and run for his Jeep, but freaking Ricky pursues him, and Sean can see him aiming to shoot at him again. So he's like running for the Jeep. Now he's sitting in the driver's seat. He ducks down in the passenger seat while starting the Jeep
Yeah, yeah.
and just takes off, dust flying. Like he starts it leaning over, just
Heck yeah.
pounds the gas. Meanwhile, Scott, finger in his neck, he's hidden in the woods and he's seen Sean get away.
Could you imagine your
I
friend drives away?
Oh my
You would
god.
yeah.
I'd have a heart attack. I'd have a heart attack. So, yeah, he sees his friend driving away. He decides his only means of surviving is to run like a bat out of hell and get down to the road. So he does. He's running through the woods. He makes it to the road where he sees headlights approaching, and it's Sean in the Jeep.
My
Like,
god, what a miracle.
fuck, yes, thank
I would
God.
get in with my finger in my hole and be like, "You
My
asshole,
finger
you
in my
left me with Ricky." Also, I wanna know where's the dog at during all of this? That poor
Right.
dog.
What's he doing? What's he
That's all I'm really
doing?
thinking about,
I
but
know.
continue. So
Alright, hold
so
on.
miracle happens, he runs through the woods, he's shot in the neck, he sees his friend driving, and I'm
Yes.
assuming he jumps in and they are both in bad shape.
They are in bad shape. Hold on, I have to I'm not feeling good. I
It's
think
okay, take a
my
minute.
son had, sickness, now I'm kinda thinking I'm getting the flu.
Do you feel pukey?
Yeah.
Okay, take a breath.
Yeah,
Do you
maybe
do
I'll
we
go to the
need
bathroom quick and see what I
go,
can
ta
do.
do you
Alright.
just I'm just gonna sit here and do some book stuff, so go.
Okay.
It's okay.
Alright,
And if
I'll
you
do
don't
that.
feel good, it's okay. Oh, no. Kelly.
Whew, I'm alive.
Did you throw up?
Yeah, did
Do
you
you
hear
have the
me?
stomach flu?
I guess. I don't know. I've been fine, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Ooh, I'm not feeling good." But now I feel
That's the
better.
worst. Do you wanna cut this and be done?
No, I think I can do it. I feel
Oh my
much
god,
better.
okay.
Did you hear me? I was like, "Bleh."
Honey. No, I just heard you coughing and I'm like, "Is she
Oh my
throwing
god.
up?"
I don't know
Honey,
what
I'm
happened.
sorry. Shit. That's the worst, and that's the
Ah,
worst. That's
it's so
happened to
stupid.
me.
I was
No,
just
you're
like,
fine.
"Whoa, what the fuck?" Yeah,
It
no,
comes
I'm
out of
good.
nowhere. I
I'm
wonder
gonna
how old
power
are
up.
you?
I'm 50, almost 50.
See, I'm in my 40s, and I tell you what, sometimes out of nowhere, I will get so nauseous, and I will think, "I think I'm gonna throw up," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Where does this come from? Is this like an age thing?"
Maybe. I don't know. I was, like, feeling
Mhm.
fine, and then all of a sudden, I was getting that all hot, like,
And
whew.
tingly?
Yeah, and I
Okay,
was like,
good.
"What the
Listen,
fuck?"
if you need to stop at any time, we can stop,
Okay. Well,
okay?
I'll let you
So,
know if I'm feeling bad again, but whew, now I can
now you
whew.
okay, it's okay, honey. You are a trooper. I'd be like, "I'm done."
I can't believe it. I'm
Wow.
just like, "Whoa." Well, it's not like this is, I'm at home. It's not like I'm at the shop or
Oh,
something.
shit, though.
All right.
Okay,
Are you ready for the next? You got
I'm
a lot to
ready.
cut out. That'd be
It's
hilarious. You have it in
fine.
the background. Bleh.
Kelly is vomiting.
Kelly's off. Her story's making her sick. God damn.
Kelly is this is how bad this story is. Okay.
Kelly has to go off and puke. Okay, so this is the part where Sean had run off in the Jeep. Scott's got his
Yes.
finger in his neck. He sees this fucking Jeep go by, and he's like, "Oh my God," jumps out, stops the Jeep. It's Sean who peels to a
Sean's been
stop and
shot in the back and the
yes,
chest
and I think so. I think so. Where Scott, I think, is in the head
and the
and the
neck.
neck. So he gets Scott in the Jeep and he punches gas to go get help. But they're deep in the frickin' woods. They have a long, dark, winding, bumpy road to get down, which we know in Colorado, it's not fast. It's not like you can go even 30 miles an hour on these
Right.
roads.
Because they're up in the trail. So these are
Yes.
tiny, skinny roads, but they're also shot. So it's only a matter of
Yeah.
time before they lose
You
blood
don't
and
have
pass
time. I
out.
know.
So you got to gun
So
that bitch. What you got to
get it.
lose?
Get it. Go. So it's pitch black out in the dark woods. They're both bleeding profusely. Time is running out. And one would normally only take this road at 20 miles per hour max.
Yeah.
But these dudes are breaknecking it at 40 to 50 miles per hour. So they are they're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna get the fuck out of here.
And
Scott
then you
looks
also
over.
have to think on bumpy roads, they've got these bullet wounds. How I think I was
Oh
just
my God,
shocked
the
where I was
pain.
like, how, like, not
Oh, the
only that, but
pain.
just the damage, because, just the
Oh, for
damage of
sure.
bouncing up and down,
Yeah,
down a
what if it's,
horribly
like,
bumpy
really
road.
close to your spine or something, this bullet, like, what if yeah,
That's right. That's right.
fuck. Yeah, I can't even handle it with having my period on a bumpy road, so I'd
Yeah.
be
'Cause,
screwed.
I mean, and these guys got shot. So a little different.
Just a little bit, but Scott looks over, he can see Sean has been shot in the face, and he's not sure Sean can even really see. Sean is the one driving. He doesn't even realize he'd been shot in the face at this point. So,
What? I
face
thought the
and
guy
chest.
shot in wait, I thought the guy shot in the back and the chest. What?
He did, he shot him in the chest, but I think the first shot was in the face, and he didn't even know it at the
Oh, he
time.
didn't even know he got shot in the face. That is some
Yeah,
bad
that's
assery.
bad fucking assery. So, he can't really even see. They come across this small bridge that crosses the creek. They're flying across it, and the road suddenly veers to the left. Jeep
Uh-oh.
fucking misses it and runs up an embankment where it stops, and you're just like, "Fuck, I wanna get out," so Scott's yelling at Sean, realizing that Sean is blacking out while driving on
It's
this
not his
dangerous road.
fault,
It's
Scott.
not his
Come
fault.
on.
Don't yell at him, Jesus. Dude has
Yeah, I mean, he's been shot in the face and in the chest, and he's
where Scott's like, "Yeah, but I got my finger in my fucking neck hole. So what do I
this
do?"
is
So Scott
awful. And all because A, they went hiking,
yeah.
and B, they met someone new that's a stranger. These are
See,
two
do
things you
not
mustn't ever do. That's just
no.
my thing.
Do
Keep
not be
going.
friends with strangers.
So
You
they're
are
stuck
right.
now in an embankment.
They're in an embankment. So Sean is blacking out, and Scott tells them, "Listen, I'll steer and I'll tell you when to hit the pedals because they don't really feel like they have time to even switch seats because they're dying,
Sure.
basically." So they take off again. Scott is steering from the passenger side while taking curves at speed demon quickness,
Breakneck
whatever,
speeds.
like
Yeah.
breakneck speeds. Meanwhile, he's still got his finger stuck in his neck with his other hand, steering with left and fingering your neck. Ah! Ah, so they drive another 2 or 3 miles, and then they hit a sharp curve too quickly. I'm telling you, this is like a fucking nightmare.
But I
Nightmare.
mean, it's not that shocking. They've both been shot multiple times and I mean, so inevitably you have to think that this something bad's going to happen.
Yeah,
Even worse.
something bad's gonna happen. They can't make it. Right. So Scott's trying to tell Sean to slow down, but meanwhile, he had been hit in the face, so it's hard for him to hear. He's telling him, "Hit the brakes." They skid on this S curve. I'm just thinking of, like, Fast and Furious. They're, like, going around.
They're Tokyo
Oh, you
drifting
blinked
down a
out.
mountain.
Still got internet?
I got
Yes,
you.
Tokyo drifting.
Yes, they were Tokyo drifting down the
So the
mountain.
wheels fuck yes. Yeah, so the wheels come within about a foot of a steep embankment. Like, they coulda gone off this cliff. They could have fallen off, but
Oh my God. Oh my
The
gosh,
Jeep
hold on.
skids to a stop. Oh,
Sorry, it cut
you
out.
blinked out. You there? Oh,
I'm
oh,
here. Am I
it
here?
did. Which part? Okay,
Okay. I hate
here.
that shit.
Which part were we at?
Um,
I know. Fucking internet. Let's
I
see.
hate the fucking
Going
internet.
down the Tokyo drifting. I
Yes.
know.
So they're Tokyo drifting down the mountain, both shot horribly, and they're trying to work together to get down to get help.
Yes. One steer dropping off a cliff. Oh no.
Hold on, Kelly. Hold on.
All right, we'll wait. We'll wait until this
This is
shit.
I get so fucking mad. Does this happen to you, or is this me?
Yes.
Is it my
No, it happens
internet?
to me all the time too. It's so frustrating.
Oh,
Ugh.
God, I
I
hate
think
the
it
internet. How are you feeling?
think it's good. I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm okay. I'm hanging in there.
Okay.
Hanging in there.
Okay.
All right.
That's why I'm like, come on, internet, because I'm like, I want you to not
Be
have
able
to
to
do
finish
this.
my story.
Well, and feel better and be done. Like, fuck. Okay,
What is
so
happening?
they're
Okay,
coming down
so
the mountain and it's just not good.
Tokyo drifting, it's not good. They went around this S curve. The wheels come within about a foot off the steep embankment, and they're within inches of dropping off a cliff. Oh, luckily, the Jeep skids to a stop sideways in the road, and they take off again. They're like, "We're gonna get down this fucking road."
So they keep driving or they get out?
No, they keep driving.
They
They're
keep
gonna
dri okay,
they
they
ha
keep
luckily,
driving.
the Jeep is okay. They make it down the mountain, and they see some houses in the distance. Scott tells Sean, "Okay, go stop at one of them. Just go. I'm gonna
Bang
go
on the door.
stop." He jumps out of the Jeep, I think with his finger still in his neck, pounds on the door. He's yelling to call 911. So the owners, can you imagine being the owners?
No, how
You
scary.
you
And then
live
they
in the
open the door and there's a guy with a hole in his neck and he's holding it with his finger. Like, that would be a horror movie.
horrifying. So, yeah, they come to the door, they see Scott. He's covered in blood. He's saying, "Yo, me and my friend been shot. Help us, help us, help us." So Sean tries to get out of the Jeep, and he is so drained. He's tripping. He's trying to stay on his feet, but he is not feeling good.
He's lost so much blood.
Yeah, so the woman who came to the door, her name is Melissa. She initially thought sounds like she has kids like mine. She initially thought it was her son's friends playing some prank on her. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, goddamn teens, here they
A
are
little
again.
dramatic, guys.
Hold back." Until she sees the man holding his neck with blood just pouring out. So she's like, "Okay, hang out there. Gonna call an ambulance." She calls, but their house is still 40 miles from the nearest hospital.
40 miles. Look, the one isn't doing good over there, can hardly
No,
get
he's
up.
passed out. This other is freaking bleeding out right in front of her. It took 45 minutes for the ambulance to get there. 45 mi Can you imagine every second?
How is this explained where
I
these
don't
2 lost
know.
that much blood and didn't die? And also, they're driving down a mountain, so you have to think their heart's pumping, their
Oh,
adrenaline is going
yeah.
like crazy, and so the blood's gotta be going
It's gotta
everywhere.
be so bad. So, they're getting closer and closer to death, and Melissa can see it. She's freaking out. She's wrapping them in blankets on the porch, she doesn't wanna take
Yeah.
them inside and get her house bloody,
Yeah, she
but
might have white carpet. Plus, you probably don't wanna move them
no,
that
that's
much,
probably true. I was just like, "Why didn't you take them
but
in?"
it's
But then at
really
the
the
same time
carpet.
yeah, it's really like, "I just got these redone. I'm
Let's
not
just
bringing you
scooch
out."
out to the front porch.
So her main concern is for Sean, who was shot through the face, and he's super disoriented that he was the one that had driven the Jeep. Scott was completely with it. This is the dude with the whole bullet hole in his neck.
Yeah, he's hanging on.
He's just like, "I'm fine. What's wrong with you?" He is now really angry, wondering why they're shot. So he's going in a whole different direction, like it's like he's going through stages of grief or
Of
something. But
being
now he's
shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
now he's just pissed. So when the ambulance arrives, they see the condition of the 2 men. They're like, yeah, we're not gonna be enough. We gotta call the helicopters in." So now they gotta wait for the helicopter to get there. Oh
Oh
my
my God, it's like they want
god.
these 2 to die.
Can we just get them
What?
help already? But they do get a helicopter there to fly them in to help. But by this time, Scott is spitting up blood and he realizes he might be in trouble. He's the one
Oh,
with
the
the hole in
finger
his
ain't
neck.
working
The
anymore.
finger's not
Dang
working
it.
anymore. He had lost so much blood through that hole in his neck and he is fading fast. So at one point, when he's in the helicopter, he hears one of the flight nurses say, "Yeah, I've lost a pulse." And he's thinking, "Yep, this is what it feels like to be dead. Like, this is the end."
Trippy.
Fuck.
That's so
Scary.
trippy. Yeah.
So trippy. But then the helicopter lands. Scott's like, "I'm still in my body. I'm here." The cold air breezes over his body as the doors open, and he says it's like the most he's ever felt alive. Like, that moment you realize,
Really?
"Holy shit, I am alive. Holy
I'm not
God."
dead. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an incredible realization to have.
Incredible. At the time that you're, like, just
Yeah,
barely
most
hanging
people would
on.
not ever experience something like
Yeah,
that.
but
Okay.
he was fortunate. Oh, Sean was fortunate. The bullet shot to his face had lodged into one of his sinus cavities, stopping it from entering the brain. And the one
Ooh,
in
that
his
is lucky.
I know, right? The one of his chest entered between 2 ribs, but remember, this is big dude, really big dude. He's the 6'5", 380 pounder.
Yeah.
His muscle mass had stopped it from reaching his heart. He had some big ass pecs. That's all I can say. So,
Get your ass to the gym. This guy is
damn.
could be the poster boy for Gold's Gym or something like that.
Oh, he should be. He
It
should be. He
saved his
should do
life
that.
to have that much muscle, you're saying.
Absolutely. It's amazing. But because they were so close to his heart, they had to remain because trying to remove them would be so dangerous. So, like you were talking about going down the hill, all the bumping, I can't
Yeah.
believe it didn't take him out.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
the insanity. Now, what
it's
about
so
the other
crazy.
friend?
So, as for Scott, the bullet to his neck had missed his carotid artery by like 1 millimeter, which is why he didn't completely bleed out. So, this was
Yeah.
just like regular blood, not arterial blood, which is shocking. He did have to have extensive surgery on his neck, and doctors aren't sure if he could ever talk or swallow again, that weren't sure at the time.
It's a big
But
deal.
okay, this is how badass these guys are. He refused to have a feeding tube in because he's like, either I'll swallow or I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna be one of those people who has to live
Who
with
has
that.
to be a vegetable?
Ah,
Well, who has to not even be a vegetable, but
right,
who
just
has to be fed through a tube?
right. He didn't wanna be that. So the bullet in his back, he had a bullet in his back, so he had to have it there because it was too close to the spine for doctors to surgically remove. So another thing, like you were saying, how did they get down the fucking mountain in the
Without
bumpy
becoming
roads?
paralyzed.
Yes.
Isn't this the this is why I
It's
said,
so
"Kelly, you have to
wild.
tell this story." When I was coming up, Ryan goes, "What is it today?" And I'm like, I don't even know where to go and how to
I
explain
know,
it."
it's so demented. So the men are continuing their fight for their lives in the hospital, and this retired sheriff's hoppity. What is a hoppity? I don't know, but a deputy, he hears about their attack, and it strikes a chord with him. For some reason, I swear it's like a sixth sense. It reminds him of murders he had investigated in that same area decades earlier.
Ooh.
So those murders had happened in 1981, and this is now 2008, but that deputy could not shake the feeling that the two are related somehow.
And it
So,
just isn't that weird? It just takes one person to have that
yeah,
one memory and that one feeling where they think, "Huh." And
so
that's
wild.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's aware of a man named Randall Lee Smith, and the locals call him Lion Randall. So that's
'Cause
always a good sign.
he's a liar.
He's a liar. So they would hear Randall's tall tales, write them off as nonsense. However, Randall was not innocent. He had killed before. Fucking Randall. In
Yeah.
1981, Randall had stalked a pair of hikers, Susan Ramsey and Robert Mountford Jr. So this was from the part one that we did on this. They were hiking the Appalachian Trail together. And when the pair had gone missing, rangers were sent on a search along with volunteers. Susan and Robert had been found dead in their sleeping bags with trash bags over the top halves of their body. I mean, the whole story is
It's
crazy, and that
ick.
it's ick. So that was part 1 of Dismal Creek from Murder, if you wanna hear the whole story about that. But
Hmm.
after a manhunt that took police from Virginia all the way to South Carolina, police had caught up with Randall Lee Smith, who had done the murders. He only served 15 years of a 30-year sentence, and at the age of 43, he was released. So
That's
it's
so young. So he killed 2 people and then he got out at my
yeah.
age, where
Yeah,
he's still
he's fine.
fairly
Yep,
doing good.
yep.
That's so stupid.
It's so
Okay, it
stupid.
makes me mad when I hear that, but go
I
ahead.
know. Okay. I might have to take another break here soon.
Uh-oh,
Not feeling great. I
Kelly.
know. What the fuck, dude? Okay, I'll be back.
Honey, go, please go.
Sorry, you
Do
first
you wanna
woman.
cut it off and be done?
Uh, oh, I don't know. Do you wanna re-record, like, more of it later?
Honey, let's do and we could do this weekend too if you just need to
Okay.
take. Do you wanna
Yeah,
do
we could
this
do it maybe
weekend?
Tomorrow or
Whatever
Sunday.
works for you.
I'm so
Whatever works.
sorry.
Please don't be sorry. Go rest. You
Go
don't
puke.
go. Go, go,
Okay.
go, go.
I will see you
Okay.
later.
Okay, bye, honey.
Bye.
Kelly, should I explain what has happened from
Oh
then
my
to
god.
then?
Yes.
Okay, you may notice we're wearing different clothes if you're watching on the YouTube channel. We are completely dressed different because it's a different day. When we originally started recording, it was Friday. And I'm going to leave in editing just kind of how it went down, where you kind of didn't feel good. And halfway through the story, she didn't feel good, and then
Oh
she
god.
started throwing up, and
Uh,
then she felt better, and so I'm like, "Are you serious?" And we started again. But now we have to finish the story, Kelly, and it's 2 days later,
I know. I
and
thought I
I'm
could
like,
power through. I was like, "I'm gonna throw up and power through this," and twice, but
there was
no.
no I thought after you threw up that one time, I'm like,
I thought I
"Maybe it
was
was just a
good.
fluke," and
Yeah.
then right after the second time, I'm like, "Kelly, go to bed, damn it."
So stupid. Yeah, so
But
if
you feel better.
I feel better. I'm on the mend.
Dear
I
God.
yeah, so if things don't make sense, don't worry. It's because I was a fevered brain. My fevered brain was making shit up probably,
She's
but
like, "I was having a hard time focusing." You were?
no wonder you had the flu or something. You were puking.
Now, do
So
you remember where we left out in your fever puke, or do I have to look back on that?
I believe I do.
Okay.
So, I
Wow,
believe I do.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, in my haze, and maybe I just dreamt it all, but I think I know where we're at. So,
Okay. I'll
'cause I
I'll
think
correct you if there's something I think we haven't heard yet.
all right, well, what I think is we ended with the guys going back on the helicopter to the hospital so they could get all better, right?
Right.
And we were finding out where they were shot. So Sean, he'd been shot in the face, and he was a meaty dude. We talked about that. So the sinus cavities stopped it from going into his brain. And
Right.
the one that had gone in his chest, because he had such big pecs, he was a meaty dude, it stopped it from reaching his heart. Do you remember that part?
Yes, I remember that
Okay.
that is amazing, and it makes me think I need to
Freaking
get to the
amazing.
gym more, but I've yet to get to the gym, and those 2
Yeah.
days in between, I have not gone to the gym once, so, it hasn't inspired me that much, but because this guy had such big muscles from working out and lifting and stuff, it
He's a
essentially
big
saved his
dude.
life.
Yeah. But they had to keep those bullets in him because removing it would be too dangerous, and Scott kinda had the same thing. He's a very thin man, and he luckily survived his shit. The bullet to his neck missed his carotid artery, which is why he didn't bleed out, and we kinda talked about that, and the fact that he didn't want a feeding tube. Do you remember that part? He didn't want a feeding tube. He was
Yes.
like, if you don't I'm either gonna die, but I'm not gonna have a feeding
Like,
tube."
I'm not gonna be on a feeding tube. If I am, then just let me go.
Yeah, yeah, he did
Okay,
not wanna live
right.
like that,
I do remember
which
that, okay.
okay. So the bullet in his back also had to remain because it was too close to his spine. So we talked about how these guys are fighting for their lives at the hospital, and this retired sheriff hears about it, and he immediately goes back to thinking about these murders that had happened on the Appalachian Trail in 1981. And for some reason, it clicked in him. He had a sixth sense that this is related somehow. I really feel like it's related. This dude probably should have been a woman because he had real sixth sense in there.
Yeah,
Why
he was
not?
paying attention.
Yeah, yeah. So he was well aware of a man named Lion Randall. You remember we were starting to talk about Lion Randall before I had to puke again. And
Oh, yeah, yeah, we're the Randall guy, and they called him Lion because he
Lion Randall.
constantly lied. It
Oh,
wasn't
he
like a
was
lion like the animal.
no, like he was not rar. He
He
was an
was
idiot.
ick. Yeah.
Yeah. His real name is Randall Lee Smith. And the locals they knew to take everything he said with a grain of salt. So he's pretty nonsense. However, he isn't lying when he does say he has killed before. So in 1981, Randall had stalked a pair of hikers. This was Susan
Oh.
Ramsey and Robert Mountford Jr. They were hiking the Appalachian Trail together. They weren't a couple, but they had worked together, and they were actually doing this hike to raise money for youth, some sort of youth program that they were putting on. So, I
Hmm.
mean, they were raising funds. It was on the news. These people were known to be hiking it. It was on the news. Everyone's like, "Yeah, go.
It's like
We'll
a
help you
big
raise
deal.
money." Yeah.
Yeah.
So when these 2 go missing, rangers are sent out immediately to go search for them, and they find their bodies in a horrible way. They're stuffed headfirst down into their sleeping bags with
Mm.
trash bags over them. It was so bizarre. So first he had put them in trash bags and then put them in their respective sleeping bags upside down. So when they were first found, people first saw feet, sticking out and were like, "What the fuck? You
Oh,
don't
this is
sleep that way in a sleeping
disturbing.
bag."
Yeah.
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 So,
That would be scary to come upon if you were part of the search party, because 'cause I'm
oh,
assuming somebody in the
mhm,
search party found them,
it was. It was a
and
guy
how
that was
messed up would that
volunteering.
be?
Yeah.
A
Yeah, horrible. A
volunteer? Damn,
volunteer!
he's not even getting paid for this
No,
stuff.
he was just
Okay.
there to help out, and yeah, he came to the Rangers, face white as a sheet, like, "Yeah, I found something." So
Oh, no, okay.
so this Randall, he had been found. It was a huge manhunt, and you can hear the whole story of the manhunt in our first episode of, Dismal Creek from Murder, part 1.
Yes, which is on the ODFM podcast, which you can
Yeah.
get pretty much anywhere. So this is kind of a switchover that I do every week, where I have Kelly on to tell us a murder story. But if you're just into murder 100% of the time, then I strongly suggest you follow OD Faller. My God.
Faller! You go
If you
follow her!
follow ODFM, then you're going to get your fill of murder.
Oh, so much murder. So
Go ahead.
this manhunt took police from Virginia, where they were on that trail, the Appalachian Trail, all the way to South Carolina. And it's pretty crazy how they find them. They even go and test like dirt samples. It's pretty cool, the forensics that are involved with this. But they finally catch up with Randall Lee Smith. He's living in the backwoods of South Carolina. They catch up with him. They bring him back, put him on trial. He serves only 15 years of a 30-year sentence, and he is let
Why?
out. It's so ridiculous. I think
Was there a reason why, like overcrowding or anything stupid like that, which we know
it's
isn't really true?
right. It's almost always good behavior. I think he was kind of in there. He obviously has some mental issues. Yeah.
So Lion Randall killed these 2 people, went to prison for half the time he was supposed to, and then he was let
Mhm.
out, and then we have this issue.
Yes, and he's only 43 when he's let out, so he's a youngster. It's not like he's
Wow.
80 and doesn't have the strength to kill again. This dude, yeah,
He's, like, ready to get back in the game.
yeah, he's stoked.
Yikes.
So, instead of moving elsewhere, wouldn't you think, "Okay, I committed horrible crimes, everybody knows about it, I would move across the country, possibly to another country." But no,
Yeah,
Randall goes home. He returns
Randall's
to the exact house he grew up in with his mom. Fucking Randall. He's a
what an
tool.
idiot.
He's an idiot. And so Randall's neighbors know everything. They're surprised. What the hell are you coming back for? Uh, we know about you. But, they know he's got a mental disturbance going on. So they just kind of keep an eye on him. But
I
one
don't
time,
know.
I
My
don't
God, if
either.
you knew your neighbor had
No.
murdered 2 campers and put them in a bag and then back in there, that
Yeah.
would just be like,
Mm,
I couldn't ignore that. I couldn't wave
no.
at that.
No. I'd be like, dude, we need extra security up in there. Ugh. And it wasn't like he
Yeah,
lived
how
in a
do you get
great area,
that?
but moo.
Okay, go ahead.
So, one neighbor of his talked about how Randall seemed to have an obsession with the mountains and specifically the trail where he had killed his first victims.
Yeah.
And he'd become so engrossed with the mountains that one day in 2008, he'd walked into the wilderness and disappeared. Poof. So now
Okay.
nobody knows where he is. They can't keep an eye on him, which is even scarier. Like, I'd rather know where the fuck this dude is, but
So wait, he just went in the woods and that was it? He
yeah,
disappeared?
he disappeared. And neighbors are like,
Okay.
oh shit, I'd rather know he's right there than know
Yeah.
he's off in the woods somewhere. So police become worried about that. And they had been keeping an eye on him. So they put out all these missing posters with Randall's photo on him. Like, we need to know what this dude's up to. So when Scott, one of these shooting victims, he's in the hospital, he's being wheeled into surgery. He sees one of these flyers hanging in the hospital and sees the picture. And he tells a trooper, "Oh my, this is the guy that freaking shot us. That's the dude." So
Holy crap.
now, I know he'd been sitting in the woods, almost like stalking, I think, waiting for perfect opportunities, living off the land, which is probably why he was so scruffy and thin looking and
When
rough.
he found Sean and Scott, yeah.
Right. So police are like, shit, we got to get out there. They quickly mount a search for Randall Lee Smith once
They're like,
again.
"Fucking Randall again."
Fucking came out. We put you in once and courts didn't do their job. And here we are again.
Wow, okay.
So crazy. So Rand so they go on this hunt for Randall, and he had stolen. Remember how there was the one Jeep Scott and Sean took, but
Mhm.
and I believe it was yeah, that was Sean's Jeep. Scott's truck had been left at the campsite because they had taken off together in the Jeep. So there was this one truck they left there. Well, Randall decided to take that truck. So he's driving around in Scott's pickup truck that had been left there at the
So
campsite.
Randall is just a complete dumbass dipshit.
He's like, they won't find me, ding dang dong.
Oh
So
my gosh. First of all, you speak beautiful hillbilly.
thank you.
And second of all, Randall, you dumbass. Can I be honest? I've never met a smart Randall in my life.
No.
Ever.
I don't know if I've known many Randalls.
I have an uncle who was named
Oh,
Randall, and I'm standing by that fact. Might piss
and
my
he probably
family
doesn't
off,
listen to
but
this, so
no, he died.
oh,
Anyway, move
oh,
forward.
no. Oh, no. Even better. Okay. So troopers are looking for this truck, and they find it, and a trooper pulls behind the truck. Randall tries to take off speeding away. He
In Scott's truck.
It's Scott's
Brilliant.
truck. But remember how Scott and Sean, when they had been shot, both of them barely able to see, barely able to breathe, they had made it down the mountain. Frickin' Randall, as soon as he speeds up, he flies off an embankment and he flips the truck on its roof. So he can't even in broad daylight drive, apparently.
Oh,
But
shoot.
in getting in this wreck, he traps himself inside of it. So he's
Like a
got nowhere to
rat.
go.
Yeah.
So he's pulled out from the truck where they spot a huge handgun laying right outside the truck. It must have flown out a window when it broke.
Where are the
Whoops!
people living?
Whose
Is it
is
like
that?
1/2 of a square mile? Because this is
I
insanity.
know that they could just find I don't think he left. I think he stayed at the campsite. Well, maybe they'll come back.
What? So he
Come
never
back.
Randall never left the campsite
I
after
don't
shooting these people?
I don't think so. I think he might have left but didn't go very far. He was like, "Well, my own campsite is up here. I don't wanna leave too far."
Yeah. What
Ugh,
a psycho.
he's a weirdo. So Randall's injured. He's alive though, and he's treated at the same hospital as Scott and Sean. Fuck. I would
And those
freak
seem like
out.
2 dudes when they're fully capable could
Oh,
kick the shit out of you, and
I
especially this
absolutely think
Randall
so.
type.
Yeah. Oh, Randall's a little skeevy, I don't even know. I wanted to say meth head, but that's probably not nice to the meth heads. So,
She's Oh, wow.
I know. He's a killer. So, police he's asked if he ever shot anyone when he's arrested, and
Yeah.
police say that they know he did. They're like, "We know you've done something." And he said, "Well," his only answer was, quote, "Well, if I did, it wasn't my gun, it was theirs." Like, that would somehow make it
Yeah.
okay. "Well, it wasn't my
Right.
gun."
Total Randall thinking.
Oh, you're right, Randall. We
He's
should
such
let
an
you go
idiot.
then.
Yeah.
However, police are able to determine the gun is indeed Randall's, so that was a bad lie. It
Yeah, but it saved him, like, 6 hours. So, I mean,
True,
he was
true.
thinking ahead, I guess.
Yes. So, it was a .22 revolver, and that was the same caliber that had been used to kill Bob so many years before. So, it was the actual gun they had never found in the first killings that he had killed with Susan and Bob, and now had tried to kill Sean and Scott with.
And
Freaking
he got
creepy.
off. Every You know what, Kelly?
Mhm.
Every time you're on, I'm gonna be like, "Here's another story of assholes getting out of the
I
system and
know.
then doing it
And doing
again."
it again, had he been able to stay. So but this is even creepier. So they go into the woods. They're looking to find out where this Randall's been staying. So they find
Yeah.
his campsite, and they find Scott's sunglasses, because those he's like, "Yeah, I want these. What the
So he
fuck?"
would
So
just pick what he wanted from his
uh-huh.
victims.
Uh-huh.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
So he takes the sunglasses. They find over 20 knives, meat cleavers, bizarre drawings and writings. This dude had
Wasn't
some
that
shit
so?
going on. He even
Shoot.
had a police scanner so he could listen to what was happening because he loved hearing what was going on. And yeah. So there were also piles of clothing, some for adults, piles of eyeglasses. So weird. And 8 pairs of women's underwear. So I
Yeah,
think
that tracks for Randall. The
doesn't it?
underwear thing, like the glasses, I'm like, but you say panties, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that he
Mhm.
seems like he's a panty
He
sniffer.
does.
Yeah, it's
A
gross.
panty
He's an What a
sniffer.
dick. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think he was raiding people's campsites to get these things while they're probably
Oh,
sleeping, which is even freaking
probably.
creepier. But
Yeah,
he,
but you
yeah,
you
what?
also have to think of how lucky those people are if he just stole some panties.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Like, I'd feel lucky that he just stole some panties and he
yeah.
didn't,
He didn't yeah,
do the
take my
awful things that he's done
eyeglasses.
to other people.
Absolutely, I don't know why he picked these guys, but
Yeah.
there was even a map of the trail that he had there with spots circled on it, but no indication of what those circles meant. And mind you, there's been something like 18 murders, some of which are still unsolved on that same area.
Appalachian Trail.
Yeah. So they're not sure. Could it be related to him?
Have they
Could be.
checked out the spots, or have they been like, "We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what
They're
happens,"
like,
if another
ding, dang, dong. I'm out that.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that. I got to go catfishing. I
Like,
don't
have
know,
they
but
gone and looked and been like, "Is this like a map of places?"
I
Wow.
hope so. I hope so.
We don't know.
I don't know. They're just hoping when Randall gets out again, maybe he'll lead that. I'm just kidding. Hopefully, he didn't
He'll
get
probably
out
get
again.
out in another 10 years, and then he'll do this
He'll do
again.
it
That's what's so
again.
frustrating.
Ah, I know. Well,
Damn it,
one of these
Kelly.
I know. He's a dick. One of these places circled was Dismal Creek, and that is exactly where Robert and Susan had died, and now Sean and Scott were attacked. This is really creepy. There was a radio with a cassette. Like, if people don't know what cassettes are, go back to the 90s. They were wonderful.
Ah,
So this radio, it had a cassette in it, and when they played it, it sounded like a satanic ritual happening. Like, you could hear people moaning and screaming. But then when they start to analyze it, they think it's like a recording of a movie from like a supernatural movie or a TV show. Like, he was just recording these weird sounds to listen to while he's
ah.
in the like, the worst, scariest things to listen to while you're deep in the woods in the dark. Why would
He
but
was probably jerking it too, if we're
ew,
being honest. I mean, I know, and
probably
I hate to take
got
it
the
to that place,
panties.
But if we're being
Mhm.
honest, if this dude is stripping panties from, he's
Ah,
sniffing them, which then
you
will
know he
lead
is.
to, listening to devil songs, which then will lead to
Devil songs.
masturbation.
It's the
It's a
gateway
simple
drug.
formula.
Panties.
Yeah.
Panties are
Ugh.
the gateway drug. Yeah. So one of the notes they found, because he had a bunch of those weird notes, it was a kind of chant that read, "Hail to the guardians of the watchtower of the north. By the powers of mother and earth, hear me. Show me thy glory. I invoke thee, O ancient one." So people are like, what could this possibly? I probably just opened the portal in my basement anyway. So if you
I didn't. That
I
was
opened it
her.
for you. It was don't do
Shit.
it. But they figured out that the source of this chant was from the movie The Craft. So it's not even like some real
Stop.
satanic. It's so
From
stupid.
that stupid movie with Nev
Yes.
Campbell from, like,
Yes.
1998? Shut up!
Like he believed it was
Oh,
like real.
Randall, you fuck up.
He's an idiot. So a day or two after their camping trip, Sean and Scott learn who this guy is, and they couldn't believe it's this fucking dickwad who'd been convicted of killing 2 people in the past, who had only served 15 years. So they are
Yeah,
so
I'd be
pissed.
mad. I'd be incredibly
Yeah,
mad that I got
like,
shot for that.
hell yeah, because I doubt they'll ever be the same.
Mm-mm.
So Randall was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder this time, thank God. Ironically, Randall's jailer, this is so weird. There's so many, maybe people just never leave the South. I don't know. But Randall's jailer was the same man who had put him away 27 years prior. He was probably like, what the
Way to
damn
blow
it,
it, dude. Yeah,
Randall.
yeah.
So this guy,
Again?
again, dude, he had been a deputy back then, but he was now the superintendent, assistant superintendent of the jail. And he was probably like, can you imagine how pissed they were? Oh,
Yeah,
we did this
totally.
before. But neither Scott or Sean had medical insurance at the time. This is another problem in our fucking country, and they are now left with a hefty debt. Scott says his is between $70 and $80,000. Can you
That he
believe?
has to
And
pay
it's
because of Randall?
yes, it's like someone else shot me. It's not like I got hurt accidentally. It's bullshit, isn't it? What is wrong with that system? I'm just
Whoa, that's uncool. No, that's wrong. That's
yeah.
wrong.
So both of these guys now are heavily in debt because of
I
this.
think that they should both be able to cut off one of Randall's,
Testicles?
well, no, let's do that in a queen suite. I'm saying, like maybe one gets an arm and one gets the dick, and one
Ah,
gets a foot and one gets the dick. First of all, the dick has to always be included in this
I mean,
equation because
yes,
Randall, you need to
obviously.
lose it.
Yeah.
But you're saying that there was nothing that could be done?
No, isn't that bizarre? It makes me so sad, especially, like, you would think even the hospitals would be like, "You know, we're gonna forgive this because of the shit you've been through." But that doesn't happen. Nope. So,
Okay,
I
so the
I
one
hope they
guy
have a
owed how much?
GoFundMe.
No, wait,
Uh,
the one guy owed how much?
between 70 and 80 grand, and I don't think that was Scott's, and Sean hasn't said how much his was, and it's
You've
because they
gotta
didn't have
be.
insurance. Yeah. I mean, even if you do, it's still
How unfair that you have to then ask for
I
money because
know.
some dude shot you. Like,
Yeah.
that's so messed up.
It's not like you asked to be shot. You weren't putting yourself in danger, you didn't think. But anyway,
It's
Randall.
horrible. Oh,
Randall
there's
did not
more?
there's more.
Shit.
Randall did not go on to serve any time for the shootings.
Oh, yes, of course.
But it's because he died after arriving at jail from the injuries he got in his car accident, which I still feel like is a way out. Like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You
He
son
pretty
of a
much his
bitch.
whole life was able to kinda do what he wanted to do, and then he
Mhm.
just died. Some people
Yeah.
just die and they don't get what they wanna do.
No. So that's not fair.
Wow.
I
So
know.
Randall really didn't get his comeuppance.
Mm-mm. Not really.
What a bummer of a
Hopefully
story.
he
Way
was
to
in
go,
I know you're
Kelly.
sorry to bring
Jeez.
you down. Bring
Way to
down the
bring us
mood.
down. Because I feel like if you've ever watched, like, Unsolved Mysteries, you want there
Mm,
to be that beautifully tied in, like, "And then it was okay." And that's just
yes.
not you're not gonna get that
No, sorry.
vengeance.
Although these guys, Scott and Sean did live, so hopefully I don't know. I feel bad
Yeah,
for
but he
him.
has to, for the rest of his life,
I
pay
know.
the
Pay this
hospital.
debt. I know, because of this
Wow.
one asshole. Yeah.
Well, Kelly,
So
thanks for nothing today.
you're I'm a
Thanks
giver, I've gotta
thanks for
say.
coming back from your deathbed. If you're listening to this, maybe it doesn't make sense. This is a two-parter, Friday and Sunday, because Kelly started vomiting, and I'm like, "Well, we gotta shut it down." So, that's a messed up story, and I love
It's
that
so messed up.
story
It's a
because
great story because they survived.
I have to say the survival of these 2 guys is just it's insanity, it's
They're
incredible, but then you hit with
badass.
Randall gets off on every side, and you're like, "You gotta be kidding me." It's kind of a
I
big
know.
bummer.
It's a
So anyway,
total
thanks
bummer.
for
You're
listening.
welcome for the bummer. But
Every
if you
Monday, we are doing Murder Monday with the podcast ODFM. Kelly, she is the host and creator of the podcast. So if you're into all things murder, then definitely go subscribe to ODFM and put it on automatic download. Kelly, you
thank
are a
you.
trooper. In the past 3 days, you have fought through some stuff to get us this story.
Well, I figured if it came to it and I had to levitate for your show, I would, and then you'd go
I
viral
get like
big time.
I
I
know. I'd
mean,
be like, forget about the
yeah.
story. Look at she's like the exorcist.
I had to get this story out. Poor Sean and Scott. Do you know how I suffered for you?
And
Yes.
really, they got so screwed in the end, you guys. Past the physical stuff, now for the rest of their lives, they have to pay a bill for some crazy dude that
I
shot them.
know. I
That
feel
would piss me off, and it does actually piss me off for them.
it
But
does.
not to leave you on a sour note, thank you so much for listening to
Yes.
today's Sadie Has No Friends. I want to thank my amazing sponsors who are able to do this, well, sponsor us so we are able to continue going on. It's Cristiana Salon Spa, ChristianaSalonSpa.com. Make your appointment and mention the podcast for 10% off. And then be sure to, if you want to change up the look at your house, but you don't want to paint or you don't want to, I mean, sometimes that could be overwhelming. You get new
It's
landscaping
too
in, you're being
much.
ridiculous.
You break your
Just go to,
nails and shit.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, what are you doing? Garage door service and sales. It will change the entire look of your home. Garage door service and sales.com. And then one more, Kelly, stick with
Okay.
me.
I'm
We
in.
got to
I'm in.
thank Casey's Pest Control Services.
Oh,
If you
hell yeah. Do they get rid of Randalls?
I'm gonna ask Casey, do you get rid of Randall's? They
Yeah.
get rid of everything. We're not sure about Randall's, but anything
Okay.
else, I think they can come out and take care of. So big thanks to Casey. We love him. Casey's Pest Control Services.com. Those are our amazing sponsors, so we can keep going.
So good.
Kelly,
Yeah.
ODFM, download it today, guys. It is so good. And this story that Kelly just told, it's actually part of a two-part series. So if you're into it, hear how like the origin story.
Yes, of this evil villain. Oof.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'll see you
Crazy.
next Monday.
All right. See you later. Thank you.
Go to bed now.
Okay. I'm gonna go levitate.